All right, so chapter 11 is going to begin our exponent and logarithm chapter. And so in section 1, we're going to do a review of rational exponents and things about radicals. All right, so the first rule that we're going to talk about is the product rule. And so the product rule says if I'm multiplying two numbers with the same bases, then if I add up their exponents, I get an equivalent number. So a to the m times a to the n is equal to a to the power of m plus n. And then similarly, the quotient rule says if I'm dividing two numbers with the same base, then I would subtract their exponents. So I want to be clear about something. The bases themselves don't cancel. That's a common error that people make. You have to subtract the subtracting of the exponents is what makes the canceling. Then we have a power rule that says if I have a number to a power, I multiply my exponents to simplify. That also means if I have ab to the m power, then a is to the m power and b is to the m power as well. And that only works with multiplication and division. So you'll notice you don't see addition or subtraction in here because there's other rules that apply to that. And so if I have a over b to the m power, then I have a to the m over b to the m. So if we take a look at this first example, I'm trying to simplify and make sure that I only have positive exponents when we're done. So looking at this, I have some common, like terms. So I have 2 times 5, and then I have a to the 7th times a to the 9th, and then I have b to the 2nd times b to the 9th. And so I grouped everything together that was a like term. So 2 times 5 gives me 10. And then I have the same base, so I'm going to keep that same base and add my exponents because I'm multiplying. So 7 plus 9 is 16 times, and then again, keep my same base and add my exponents, so I get b to the 11th power. So looking at b, we're going to do the reverse. So with b, you'll notice 2 goes into 2 one time, and 2 goes into 8 4 times. And so then I have, or actually I could just do this. I've got 2 8s. I've got x to the 7th over x to the 4th. Whoa. And then I have y to the 7th over 1, if I want to call it that, right? So like I was saying up top, I've got 2 goes into 2 once and 2 goes into 8 4 times. And then if I use my power rule, it says I've got 1/4, and then I'm going to subtract. So I've got x to the 7 minus 4. And I have y to the 7th. And so I can either call it x cubed y to the 7th all over 4, or I could call it 1/4 x cubed y to the 7th. Either one of those answers is correct. So if we take a look at C, remember we said we could distribute this, but we're not distributing it to the numbers, we're distributing it to the exponents. So that means this is the same as 2 to the 1st to the 3rd power, and it's the same as n to the 7th to the 3rd power. And then the power of the power, we said multiply. So this is 2 to the 3rd times n to the 21st. So if I look at 2 to the 3rd, I get 2 times 2 is 4, and 4 times 2 is 8. So we get 8n to the 21st power. Another way you could have seen that is 2n to the 7th 3 times. And notice you get 2 times 2 times 2, which we said was 8, and 7 plus 7 is 14, plus 7 makes 21. So that's where that rule comes from. So another rule that we have is called the zero exponent rule. And that tells me that any number to the 0 power is equal to 1. So just to show you where that comes from, let's say I have x to the 3rd over x to the 3rd. You'll notice that my rule up here said if I'm dividing, I subtract my exponents. So that's x to the 3 minus 3, which gives me x to the 0. But then the question is, what does that mean? So I could write it out and say that I have x times x times x over x times x times x. And you'll notice x goes into itself once, and again once, and again once. And so we just get 1. And since both ways are correct, that means that x to the 0 power has to have a value of 1. And then also just to note, even if I have 0 to the 0 power, that's still going to be 1. So any number, even if it's a million to the 0 power, it's still going to be 1. So then the next rule is going to be the negative exponents rule. And so a negative exponent, you might have heard it as like an elevator switch in junior high. So anytime you see a negative sign, think of it as I'm switching floors. So for example, in this case, I have a negative in the numerator, so it's going to switch floors and go to the denominator. And if I have a negative in the denominator, it's going to switch floors and go to the numerator. So you'll notice A over B became B over A when I took that negative sign away. So these examples here are going to kind of mix together all the different rules and see what we can do. So in this case, for A, when I have a power of a power, remember we multiply. So I have x to the 2 times 3, which is x to the 6. And in the denominator, I can put an invisible 1 right there. And if I'm multiplying two numbers with the same base, the base stays the same, and I add my exponents, and 5 plus 1 gives me 6. Then I have the quotient rule that says keep your base the same and subtract your exponents. So this is equivalent to x to the 0, but the 0 rule says that is always going to be 1. So any number to the 0 power gives me 1. So pause the video for a minute and see what you can do with B. So hopefully you see we can add in exponents of 1 here. So I have 5 to the first squared is going to give me 5 to the second. X to the first squared is going to give me x to the second. And y to the third squared is going to give me y to the sixth. And that's times y to the negative sixth. So that tells me 5 squared is 25. X squared doesn't have any other like term to change with it. And then 6 plus negative 6 gives me y to the 0. But remember, any number to the 0 power is just 1, so this would simplify to 25x squared. So pause the video for a moment and see what you can do with C. So on this one, I'm going to simplify what's inside my parentheses before I try to do anything else. So you'll notice I have an x to the negative 2 and an x to the positive 3. And so when I add those exponents together, I get an x to the first, a y squared, and then that whole thing is going to be cubed. Okay. Then the power rule says I can distribute the 3 to those exponents. So I have x to the fourth over. So x to the first cubed is going to be x to the third. 1 times 3 is 3. And y squared cubed is going to give me y to the sixth because 2 times 3 is 6. So now I notice I have these x's in common, and I want to make sure that I only have positive exponents when I'm done. So that means I want to take the smallest exponent and subtract it from the largest one. So if I cancel this x cubed, that's going to take 3 away from this x to the fourth. And so that leaves me with x to the first over y to the sixth power. All right, so take a moment to pause the video and see if you can answer D. So on this one, we could take care of that negative by taking the reciprocal of the fraction. And so it's really saying 5/4 to the second power. And then I can distribute that second power to the power of 5 and the power of 4. So that means that I end up with 5 squared over 4 squared, which gives me 25 over 16. And we're always tempted to reduce that to 5/4, but remember, 5 goes into 25 5 times, and 5 doesn't go into 16. So they actually don't have any common factors, and this is the final answer. So then the next thing we want to talk about is rational exponent rules, because so far we've been talking about integers. So we want to know, what does it mean when I have a rational exponent? So remember, rational has the word ratio in it, so that means it's the ratio of two integers. So if I have b to the power of 1 over n, 1 is my power, and n is my root. So you'll notice it's equivalent to the nth root of b to the first power. We want to make sure that b is greater than or equal to 0. We want b to be greater than or equal to 0 and any integer n greater than 1, or b can be less than 0 only if n is odd. So what that means is if I'm taking the even root of a number, I always have to be taking an even root of a positive number. But if I'm taking an odd root of a number, it doesn't matter if it's positive or negative. That's what that stands for. So more rules. If I keep going a little deeper, I've got b to the power of m over n. So again, my numerator is my power and my denominator is my root. So you'll notice m is my power and n is the index of my root. Or I could have had the power inside the radical and the index on the out, or the root on the outside. It doesn't matter if you do the root first and then the power, or if you do the power first and then the root.